Hello.
Hey, Sean. Hey, my name is Rodney Yard, and today we are going to be interviewing Sean Mize, author of Anyone Can Coach, and the #1 author on e-zine articles. Welcome to the call, Sean.
Well, thank you very much, Rodney. I'm delighted to be here, and sometimes I forget how many articles we've got over there at e-zine articles. So, thanks for the reminder there. Good, very good to be here.
Good to have you here, sir. And let us get down straight to this interview. And I want people to understand, being a Caribbean person, that they will hear some slang in there, but I'll try my best to speak proper English. Sean, question #1. What is the first thing any newbie coming online to build an IM business should do, and what should they specifically avoid?
Well, I'll tell you, I think there's so much to that I think it's hard to say any one specific thing. I think that, let's start with the avoid thing first. The first thing that newbies need to avoid is anywhere, anyone, anytime that might try to lead them to believe that this is something that's you can just snap your fingers and it happens really quickly, because building an online business is as hard, if not harder, than building an offline business. And so the biggest thing that they've got to avoid is all the trips and traps where they read that all you have to do is build a list and then you'll get rich, and all you've got to do is choose a niche, and all you've got to do is create a product, and all you got to do is resell this thing, and all you need is this new piece of software. And what happens is, Rodney, there's a culture of like a looping that happens psychologically for people. And so initially they're told, okay, all you got to do is build a list. So they go build a list, and then that doesn't work. And then they find out, oh, all you got to do is create a product and sell it to your list. So then they create a product, they try to sell it to the list, and people don't like the product. And so then they say, okay, well, what else do I need to do? And then they go, oh, I need to write a daily email, and then they do that for a while, and that doesn't work. And the problem is that they're chasing some dream, some fantasy, some dream, and online business doesn't work that way. So the very first thing that I think that somebody that is a newbie needs to do is they need to determine, how are they going to be able to impact the world? How are they going to be able to change the world? Because if you're not planning on changing the world, then you don't belong trying to sell something online, because if you're just going to sell the same thing somebody else is selling, you don't need to be selling it. It's kind of like in a local shopping center in your town. If there's a pizza shop right on your block, there's no good reason for another pizza shop to set up shop in that same shopping center unless there's something very, very special about that new pizza. You're not going to come in and just sell the same kind of pizza. You've got to come in and say, I'm going to change the world by doing something big. And when a newbie comes in, and instead of trying to say, well, I'm just going to try to make a whole bunch of money, instead they focus on, how can I change the world? Really focus on becoming an expert, really focus on digging their heels in and becoming very, very good at whatever it is that they're changing the world, and then work on helping out other people develop into whatever it is that they're supposed to be developing into, and then at some point begin charging for some of that information. That's where the money's going to come from. Go ahead, Roger.
Interesting answer, John. And from what I'm gathering, you seem to be saying that there are specific principles or specific steps that a newbie should take when they first come online. And with that, I'm going to ask this question. What are the core principles that should go into any IM business, and at what stages should they be implemented?
Okay, so first of all, I want to say this. I'm going to give you some key things, but in no way am I saying that this is all of them or anything like that. I mean, building an online business takes years, and most people it takes anywhere from 2 to 3 years to really learn how to do it. There's so much out there that says that you can just learn how to do everything in 30 days. The truth of the matter is, most people that are able to build a business in 30 days have been studying for 2 to 3 years. It's kind of like going to college. The only difference is when you go to college, it's called college, and you know that it's going to be 4 years. But online, people tend to study for 2 to 3 years before they even start to really build their first business. They might dabble in some things they think are their first business, but it's 2 to 3 years before they really build, excuse me, their first business. And so, you know, in a 45-minute interview, for me to give you what the steps that, you know, might take people 2 to 3 years to kind of figure out, it, you know, can't be done. So I'm going to give you some pieces that have to happen, but as someone gets in there, then they're going to have to go with the flow and kind of make it happen. And so, you know, the very first thing that folks need to do is figure out, how am I going to change the world? You know, what am I going to do? What am I bringing unique? So let's say somebody is a karate instructor and they go online and they say, I'm going to create a karate instruction website. So how are you going to change the world? How are you going to be better than everybody else? Are you going to create a website that has 1,000 instructional videos, one for every possible punch in the world? Or are you going to create a website that has videos that help deconstruct what goes wrong with certain punches? Or maybe you're going to create a dog training website, and you're going to have a video for every type of trick to teach every type of dog. And you say, I'm going to have the best website for doing this kind of thing. Or, you know, maybe you say, I'm going to have a weight loss website. Well, how is your weight loss website going to be different than anybody else's weight loss website? I mean, there's new weight loss books that are coming out every single month. How is your system really any better? And so I think that first thing newbies need to do is they need to solidify, what is it that I'm going to do that's really going to change the world? How am I going to change the world? So that's step one. Step two, I think newbies need to create a website. You know, there's so much hype out there, and I've even used it before. You know, you don't really need a website. You can just, you know, use social media and use email, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I mean, theoretically you can, but in reality, I think every newbie needs to have a website, their own website. They need to go out and get their own website, and they need to start putting content on it. They need to put an article a day on it, a video a day on it, and in a year, they'll have 250 articles and 250 videos, and then they'll be seen as an expert. You know, it's hard to look like an expert if you don't have any content on your website. So I think that the third thing that newbies need to do is, once they have this website and it's cranking and it's kind of operating, then they need to create some kind of a giveaway, you know, a checklist or a PDF or a manual or a video or something that they can give away in exchange for getting people's names and email addresses, so that they can begin building a relationship via email. And then when people come to their website that they already have, because we've talked about that, they already have their website. When they come to their website, the website's going to offer them this particular checklist or manual or video or training manual, or, you know, whatever the case is, and then they'll be able to give that away. People will come onto their list. I think the next thing that folks need to do is to write an email every single day to their list. Now, that email doesn't need to sell anything. It needs to be instructional. It needs to be an instructional email. Now, I say every single day. It doesn't have to be every single day. It could be every other day. But it can't be once a month, because people forget who you are. So, you know, I believe that it's worth it to every newbie to sit down for 15 minutes every day and write an informative, knowledgeable email. And a lot of people say, well, you know, I can't really do that because I don't have time. The question is, how much time are you spending reading your emails anyway? How much time are you spending on social media? How much time do you spend watching TV? There's plenty of time in your day to write a 15-minute email. If not, you don't have time to have a business anyway. Then the next thing that folks need to do is they need to find out from their subscribers what their subscribers' biggest challenges are, and then create products that solve those challenges. If you create products that solve those challenges, then you're able to sell those products that solve the challenges to the people on the list. And then from there, you just continue to create additional products. You can create memberships, you can create coaching programs, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, those are really the things that I think that newbies need to do. There's one more thing that, and when really you're asking me what newbies need to do, this is what anybody needs to do. I mean, if I were to start a brand new business in a new niche, I'm not a newbie, but I follow those same steps. You know, then the next thing that somebody needs to do is, once they have their website, they've really got to get out there and promote it. They've got to tell people in their niche about it, you know, and get people coming to their website who are interested in their topic, whatever that topic is. And frankly, Rodney, what I've just given you pretty much covers the whole gamut. Now, I've given that to you in, 5 or 7 minutes, but it's something, that can take some people 2 years to figure out. So, I mean, that's the formula right there, but folks have to get out there and actively do it. You know, it took me almost a year to figure all of that out. I was actively doing it for 20 or 30 or 40 hours a week, and I was actively doing it. So there's a real fallacy out there. You know, Rodney, you asked me earlier, you know, what should newbies avoid, you know, getting into the problems with? And one of the things is that there's really a fallacy that says that you can listen to a 1-hour training and know everything there is to know about it. You've really got to be willing to go out there and learn and learn and learn and learn. I mean, I've been in business for years, and I'm still learning. I still read books to learn more. I'm still studying. There's so many things that I do to continue learning and stay on the cutting edge and becoming better and better. And what folks need to understand is that they've got to spend time getting better. A lot of times folks will write an email a day for a week and say, well, nobody's opening my emails. And the problem is you probably don't have enough people on your list to worry about anybody opening your emails. The problem is if you've only written 5 letters in your whole life, emails in your whole life, of course you're not very good at it. You're going to have to write one a day every day for a year, and then maybe you'll start getting better at it. You know, it's just like anything in life. You start working out, if you start going to the gym, if you start learning karate, if you start learning swimming, anything that you learn, the first day that you do it, you're not going to be very good at it. But what most newbies do is they give up after a week. They try to do something, and they give up. They write 5 articles on their website, nobody visits, and so they give up. And so probably one of the single biggest things that holds newbies back is just giving up. Not giving up on the whole dream, but giving up on what's really, really important. Go ahead, Rodney.
Sean, based on what you were saying, 2 different schools of thought were coming to me. I've been online 6-7 months now, and I am on plenty gurus list. Some gurus say, don't bombard your list with emails every day. In your case, you said you should write a different email every day. Some gurus say, don't worry about writing content and stuff like that. Just offer them, send them offers straight off, because the mere fact they came on your list via an offer, that is the reason that you should be sending them offers. And this is the question that I want to ask, because we have different gurus saying different things to different people on different lists. And I'm going to ask you this question. Would you say that some gurus are taking advantage of their lists? And if so, what makes you any different?
Okay, so, I would say that, kind of looking at the totality of what you're talking about, I think that, number one, we have to start with the fact that every guru that's telling you to build your business is coming from, hopefully, okay, so what we want to do is we want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they're all good-hearted, but they all have different theories, okay? So one person has a theory that you should send an email 2 times a day to try to get people to buy things, and they don't care if you get offended and unsubscribe. They'll just churn and burn. They'll get some more subscribers. That's one guru's opinion, and I'm not going to even say there's anything wrong with that opinion, but, I mean, that's not the way I operate. Another guru might say you really need to build an expert presence and be respected, and can I say that either one of those is right or wrong? But let me ask you a question. Let's say somebody sells insurance in your town, okay? It wouldn't necessarily be wrong for that person that's selling insurance to go stand out on a street corner with a big megaphone, and every time somebody comes by, yell at them and say, hey, do you want cheaper insurance? Hey, do you want cheaper insurance? I don't know that there's anything necessarily wrong with doing business that way, but I can tell you this, I don't want to be the man holding the megaphone. I mean, I just, talk about being a laughing stock of the neighborhood. That's just not me. I don't want to be in the business of churning and burning and bringing people onto the list just so I can send them 3 sales emails every single day so people buy or they quit, and then that's the end of it. I'd much rather buy insurance from somebody that's nice and peaceful and sits behind a desk, and I can go in and I can sit down and say, hey, can you tell me about why I need this kind of insurance? Why do I need this kind of insurance? What do I need to do to be able to have the right insurance? What's the difference between having this level of insurance and having that level of insurance? So is it right? I can't say that it's a right or wrong, an ethical or a moral thing that one guy stands out on the middle of the street with a megaphone yelling in people's ears, and another person sits behind a desk and has nice classical music playing and a nice candle scent in the room. So I can't say that it's right or wrong for one guru to teach you to send 2 emails a day. Does that work and make money to send 2 sales emails a day and no content? Well, it probably does. I mean, you could probably get a new person on your list, send them 2 emails a day for 15 days before they unsubscribe from your list. And then some of them buy things and you make money and you reinvest that money into getting new subscribers onto your list. But let me ask you this, Rodney. You're on the list of a lot of gurus, and some gurus just send you a sales email every day, and some gurus actually teach you something in the free email campaign. Which gurus do you personally prefer to follow? The ones that are trying to sell you, or the ones that are trying to educate you and then softly sell you?
Actually, that's a good question, because I have unsubscribed from a couple gurus who every time I see an email in my inbox, they're offering me something to buy rather than telling me how to build an IM business, which is the first reason I joined the list in the first place. That's the reason I joined their list, to be able to get information that will help me to build my IM business. One such guy is yourself. Alex Jeffries also sends content. He does not always send information about a different offer or a different launch and stuff like that. And then there's some gurus who give you free WordPress teachings and stuff like that. Those are the guys that I tend to stick with. But the other guys, I found myself unsubscribing from their list. You don't hear them every day. They don't give you valuable content every day. But every day, sometimes 4, sometimes 2, 3 times a day, you get an email from one particular guru, and it's about a different offer, an affiliate offer, or their own product launch or stuff like that. And I think it's pretty disgusting, in my opinion. Right? So I want to answer this question, Sean, as we are on the subject of list building and sending emails to lists. In my own experience, I've lost members on my list because, frankly speaking, I didn't recognize their importance. What advice would you give me at this point to salvage those who remain?
Well, I think that before you can even think about salvaging who remains, I think you've got to ask yourself, what do you want your business to stand for? How do you want to treat new people that are coming in? How do you want to treat them? And once you've determined that, then you can begin treating the people that are on your list in that new way. And then once you have that new way in place, you can send an email out that says, hey, I just wanted to have a gentle apology to you. You've been on my list for a long time, and, perhaps you haven't been able to learn the kind of things that you wanted to, but I want to let you know that I'm going to start making an effort to, make sure that I'm sending out valuable content, but I need to know what valuable content you're looking for. So what are your biggest challenges, so I can make sure I'm answering that in emails. The truth of the matter is, Rodney, if you've turned people away, you probably can't salvage most of those relationships anyway. I mean, you can, and I don't want to say that you can't, but it's not easy. And, my recommendation would be to send a single email along those lines out, and then begin to send that daily content email, or every other day send an email out that really teaches people something. And if they're wanting to learn, then they're going to come around. And keep in mind, Rodney, that when people join your list, they need a help now. And if they joined your list 90 days ago and they're still on your list, they probably either found a solution from somewhere else, from somebody else, or they're just not interested anymore anyway. So, I mean, so many people that are on your list, they're not even opening and reading your emails anymore because they're not interested anymore. But, a lot of times you think that just because someone's still on your list means they're still interested. It just means they haven't taken the time to unsubscribe yet. So what I would recommend doing is really focusing on the future, focusing on the new subscribers, and then begin treating your old subscribers better, and some of them will come around.
Okay, Sean, I'll take your advice. Here's a question that I wanted to ask a guru for a long time. I found that members on my list who came through free offers, most gurus tell you build a website, offer something free up front, which I don't really think right now, based on what I've been through, is a very good method of getting your business out on the web. Reason being is that I've heard a guru teach on this. I think it was John Thornhill or Andrew Hansen or one of these guys speak about the fact that when you go there, you buy a website as a newbie, you don't know exactly what is the mechanisms that make up this website. Which in my case, I didn't know what were the mechanisms. I just heard a webinar, heard this guy selling websites. I thought about it. I bought the website. And even when I used my own email and my name and went through the front end, which was a free offer, a PDF, when I got in, the content that was on the, let's say, the upsell page, the one-time offer page, was not something that would have even encouraged me to buy, right? So here's my question. Like I said, I found that members who came through free offers hardly buy anything. And I've also heard experts relate to this, like I said just now. What do you think about this process of list building?
Okay, so here's the thing. It really depends on whether or not the prospect needs help or not, okay? So for example, when I write articles on eZine articles, if somebody reads an article about something, they have found that article probably from searching the web. They're actively looking for a solution. And so when they read the article, if I offer them something free, that person is probably going to be a pretty good prospect, even though it was a free prospect. They're going to be a good prospect because they were looking for a solution, and I provided a great solution for them. What the danger is with these free offers, and especially in, say, the internet marketing niche, is that there are people that are in business just to sell visits and sell clicks. And what's happening is there's a lot of people on earth who don't have anything better to do with their time than to read emails and click the emails and put their name and email address into emails. And there are lots of people who just, they found out who those people are that have nothing better to do with their time than to sit there and fill out free offers. And so they sell 200 of those every single day, and they're making a living selling those people who are the names and addresses of people who are easy marks for free offers. And so if you buy that traffic, all you're getting on your list is a bunch of people who have nothing better to do with their time than to fill out little name and email forms for free offers. And so of course those people are not going to be good prospects. But if you're doing organic marketing online, so if you're running YouTube, if you're doing articles, if you're building up a genuine website with genuine, good, strong content on it, then I find that free leads can be very profitable. So it really depends on the target traffic source.
Okay, so that is something that I need to look into, because I've been using some squeeze pages and still getting leads, however, free leads up to this point. Sean, at this time I want to take a little different direction and ask you about product creation. Seeing that you're a person who has created over 40 products, I want to ask some questions about product creation. When did you realize the power of selling info products, and specifically your own products?
Well, I was about 2 months into the business, and I'd been selling affiliate products, and I had a whole bunch of people asking me some questions, and so I sent an email out and said, hey, I'm thinking about writing an ebook to answer a lot of the questions folks are asking, and if I were to write that, what types of questions would you have? And I got, 50 questions or something, and so I wrote the ebook, and I sent a very simple sales letter out to my list telling them I'd written a new ebook, and for the bullet points I put, answers, I put the questions basically that people had asked, and told them that I'd answered all their questions in the ebook. And I did more sales of that ebook than I had done in all the affiliate sales I'd done in the prior 2 months. And right away I realized that because because of the relationship that I had built with people by sending an email every day, that they trusted me enough that they would buy from me, even though I didn't even know how to write a sales letter yet and hardly knew what to put on a sales letter. They would buy from me at a higher, greater rate than they would buy from some affiliate thing I was promoting, because they trusted me. So that led me to believe, I'm a strong believer that you don't have to write the best sales letter around. What you do have to do is create the most trust around. And if I'm selling to my own list, I don't have to write a perfect sales letter. All I've got to do is tell them that I've created a training program that teaches them how to do X, Y, Z. The people on my list trust me, and they'll buy from me. And, I mean, that's pretty much where the light turned on. And for the next 6 years, I probably every single month for the next 6 years after that first product, I created a new product just about every single month, some months maybe even 2 products for the next 6 years.
Okay. I kind of understand where you are coming from, but here's my next question. How does a person, or how did you specifically overcome self-doubt and build a product? That is part one. And how did you go about launching this product without financial proof or testimonials? Because
okay,
most
so
people...
the first question you asked is, how did I get over self-doubt? I didn't have to get over self-doubt. I didn't have to get over any self-doubt. I didn't have any self-doubt. I didn't have any confidence. It didn't matter. I didn't care. It wouldn't have mattered if I didn't sell any units at all. I'm in the business of building an information business, and so if I'm in the business of building an information business, part of my responsibility is to teach people how to do things. So I didn't have any self-doubt. I just knew that if I created a product, one of 2 things would happen. Nobody would buy it, or people would buy it. If nobody bought it, then I would realize that people didn't want to buy a product from me. So there was no doubt at all. There wasn't even any confidence. It didn't matter. It was irrelevant. I didn't need to have confidence or lack of doubt in order to be able to write the book, because if nobody had bought it, then that would have told me something as well. That would have told me that there was no demand for that particular book. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It makes clear sense. Makes clear sense to me, because I sat down today and I said to myself, Rodney Yard, you can either do it or make up excuses why you can't do it, and never do it, and then find out what would have happened if you really did it. Something like that. I think that, did that make sense to you? You can either sit back and don't do anything, or you can get up, do something, and see what this thing that you have done, what is the outcome of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
As relates
and if you fail,
to I am business. Go on.
If you fail, then you have simply learned something. You've learned what doesn't work. And you see, here's the thing. It's really easy for folks to look at me from the outside and they see my successes. They don't see my failures. Why? Because failures don't sell. It's the successes that people see. They don't see the failures. But so much of what I do is a waste of time, and it's a failure. But I don't look at it as a failure. I look at it as I've discovered something that doesn't work. I've discovered something that's a waste of my time, so I don't do it again. But I don't go into it with any trepidation that I might fail, and I'm not worried if I fail, because it's okay for me to fail. It doesn't make any, it's kind of like, folks, the professional baseball players. They're only going to hit a certain percentage of balls that are thrown at them. A very small percentage of balls that are thrown at them. Are they actually going to hit them? Are they actually going to hit them very far? But they don't go up to the bat and worry, oh, what happens if I don't hit the ball? What happens if I don't hit the ball? Nothing happens. You don't hit the ball a few times, and you're out. And then somebody else gets a shot. And, that's just the way it goes. And there's too much pressure on, people put too much pressure on themselves when they're building their business to do everything right. My opinion is to go out there and just do it. Find out what's right. Find out what didn't work, and move from there. Your second question was, how did I launch it? It was really, really easy. See, once again, Rodney. I think people make things really complicated.
Hold on a minute, Sean. I asked you, how did you launch it without any financial proof or testimonials? Because today, when I'm reading on the Warrior Forum, everybody wants a product launcher to have some sort of financial proof or testimonials about their product sometimes before they even buy it. That's why I asked that question.
Okay, but here's the thing. You don't need financial proof to be able to launch anything. You don't need financial proof to be able to teach people how to do anything. That's all I can say is you don't need any proof. All you do is say, I am going to teach you how to do X, Y, Z. I don't have to tell you that I've made $1 million doing X, Y, Z in order to teach you. I mean, if let's say I'm going to teach you how to write an article. I don't have to tell you that I made $1 million to be able to teach you how to write an article. I could be totally broke and still know more about writing articles than you are. I don't need financial proof to teach you anything. If you require financial proof in order for me to teach you how to write an article, I feel sorry for you, because you're going to follow people who all they do is offer financial proof, but they may not actually know how to do whatever it is. So here's the thing. If you build a list of people who trust you, then they will buy from you without having to have financial proof and testimonials because they trust you. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I didn't have to offer any kind of proof. I mean, in my case, folks had asked me. The very first training that I did was on how to build a list, and for 2 months, for 2 months I had been writing articles on e-zine articles, and I don't even remember the number now, but I've generated 500 or 600 subscribers from e-zine articles, just writing articles. So I was just writing an ebook to teach people how to do what I've been doing for the last 60 days. That's it. I didn't have to have any financial proof. There's no financial proof involved. All I did was I just told them the various ways you could build a list.
Sean, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I have to ask this question. Give an honest opinion of some of the info products being sold online today.
My honest opinion about what?
Give an honest opinion on some of the info products being sold online today, because some is bare junk as far as I am concerned. So I just wanted to hear from a guru who actually builds products to give me an opinion on.
I can't give an honest opinion. I can't give an honest opinion of any product I haven't bought, and I don't buy most of them. So I can't really give an opinion of most of the products out there.
Okay, sir. In your opinion, how important?
Here's the thing, Rodney. I think that there's an underlying theme that's coming through with everything that you've been asking me. You've been focusing. You've been asking a lot about, what the gurus do and what other people do, and other people think that you have to have proof, and so we need to have proof, and I'll be honest with you. I think that one thing that newbies do a lot of times is they worry about everybody else. You see, I don't really care much about what everybody else does. It doesn't make any difference to me what everybody else does. What matters to me is my relationship with my subscribers, and that I'm teaching them what I believe is going to help them. It doesn't make any difference to me what other people are doing right or wrong around me, because I don't interact with that. It doesn't matter to me. And if somebody wants to follow somebody else that's just teaching them fly-by-night strategies, that's their prerogative. They can do that. Or, they can invest with me, and they can work with me, and I'm going to teach them some rock-solid principles. But, I don't need to go out and say, well, other people are doing it a certain way, so I have to do it a certain way. I don't really feel very much pressure at all to do things the way other people are doing it. Instead, sometimes people feel pressure to do it the way I'm doing it because they see that it's working. Does that make sense, Rodney?
Yes, sir. And basically what you're telling me is that your list is your most valuable asset. In terms of your business, once you gain the respect of your list and you give them valuable content every day and you build up that trust between you and your list, then that is the primary standard for your IM business. That's what I am getting from this interview. That your list is very important.
The relationship with the list is very, very valuable, but I think there's something else that's very, very valuable, and that is the knowledge that I've accumulated over the last years. Because I could start over again with no list, with all the knowledge that I have, and I could start over again and very quickly build up another set of relationships. Now, that's not to say, you're absolutely right, Rodney, the active relationships that I have, that's the number one most monetizable asset that I have right now in the business. So in terms of daily operating the business, you're absolutely right. The list is that. But to me, what I think is almost deeper than that list is the knowledge and my ability to be able to disseminate that knowledge. Because I could start from scratch with the knowledge and start all over again with a brand new website, and write 10 articles a day for a year, and create 5 videos a day for a year, and I'd have another business probably look very much like the one that I have, starting over from scratch. What a lot of people miss out on, Rodney, when they're building their business is they don't take the time to really learn their subject matter. They're spending so much time trying to catch up with everybody else, trying to do what the gurus say to do, trying to build a list, trying to do all of these different things, that they never learn the actual techniques so that they can teach them. In my case, almost everything that I teach is something that I either do or I personally know. So when I teach on a topic, I don't have to go do research. I don't ever have to go do research and find out what the web tells me or what somebody else tells me or what an opinion is or what percentage of gurus are doing something. Everything that I teach, I'm able to teach from the perspective of this is what I do, this is what I see, this is what I know. And so I think that the knowledge accumulation is huge, and that people, when they're building their businesses, they've really got to focus on becoming the expert rather than just somebody that is just there to write emails.
So you would say that experience is the greatest teacher, then just go there and do it and get the questions from your list. As your list starts to answer questions, as you said, and you have the knowledge of what you're doing and you're teaching, that experience then helps you to go on to teach in a greater demand. That's what you're saying.
Yes, absolutely. Experience is huge. And most of the people online right now who are selling training do not have very much experience compared to a small percentage of the people that are selling that have a high level of experience. You know, the folks that have experience, you know, if you were looking for information, like let's say that you wanted real-world information on how to go from taking the business that you have to the next level, you know, would you want to go to somebody who's an encyclopedia of information but has never done it before, or go to somebody that has done it and done it and done it, may not know quite as much, but has done it and done it and done it time and time again and knows what all the pitfalls are? You know, I think that most people would say that they'd rather go to the person that has the experience, that has done it. And, you know, I believe that that's huge, and I think that's important, and I think that's one place where newbies miss out on. They spend 2 years, trying to find the perfect snap-your-fingers formula that works every time, even though there is not one. If they'd have spent those 2 years just learning everything they could about the business, then they'd be gurus in their own right after 2 years.
That's a perfect answer, Sean, and a perfect response to the next question, because we're getting ready to wrap up as soon as possible. In your opinion, how important then is mentoring? Because you spoke about the fact that it is better to go to somebody, not the person who has the encyclopedia of knowledge, who has never done it, but the person who has done it and done it and done it and failed and done it and done it and failed and has the actual experience. So in your opinion, how important is mentoring?
Well, I think mentoring is huge. You know, folks try to do it on their own for whatever reason. They try to do it on their own, but the truth of the matter is it's really hard to figure most things out in life on your own. You know, it'd be kind of like if you're learning to play golf. You know, there's 2 ways to learn to play golf. One way is to take a golf club and a bucket of balls and go out and try to figure it out on your own. And maybe after a year you'd have it figured out. But the easy way to do it would just be to hire somebody, and the person comes over and they say, okay, you hold the golf club like this, and you stand like this, and you put the golf club right here, and you swing through, and then they look at it and they adjust it, and they say, you're hitting it too hard, you're hitting it too close, you're swinging too far, you're not following through, whatever. So if a mentor has been there, done that, you know, a mentor is huge, just absolutely huge. You know, too many people try to build the business all by themselves, all by their lonesome. I mean, nothing in life do we do all by ourselves. You know, we're not born by ourselves. We can't make it through our first 5 years without being fed. We can't make it through our first 10 years without being taken care of. And most people don't make it through their first 20 years without being taken care of. You know, you don't get a job by yourself. You can't drive a car by yourself because it takes 10,000 parts or so to build a car, and you can't do that by yourself. You can't build your own foundry all by yourself. I mean, nothing in life can you do all by yourself. And then people try to build a business. They say, I'll try to do it by myself. It's a prideful, selfish, egotistical type of thing that in theory maybe it sounds good, but in reality you really need somebody to take you by the hand and show you how it's done. Now, having said that, you know, I believe you've got to have a good mentor. You know, if you want to learn how to do something specific, you need to go to a mentor who has done that specific thing, not someone who does something else. You've got to find the right mentor that wants to do what you want to do, and then you've got to take action. I mean, the big thing about having a mentor is you've got to take action. A lot of times people get a mentor, and they just think they're a mentor, but it's just really some kind of group, group therapy type of thing. But it's got to have an accountability to it. I think that you've got to have accountability for yourself. You've got to say, within the next 7 days, I am going to do this, and I'm going to get it done no matter what. You know, that's one thing that a lot of folks, when they get to know me, you know, they realize that if I'm focused on really getting something done, I'm going to push through until, you know, one or two things happen, until I decide it's not so important anymore, or, you know, likely we're going to get this project done. You know, a lot of people fail in business because things get tough and then they quit. And if I'd have quit every time things got tough in this business, I wouldn't be in business anymore. And I think most people quit. See, they don't quit on the whole business because they have this dream. They got 100 emails from gurus coming in every day to remind them that they have this dream. And so they don't ever quit on their dream, but they quit on everything they start. They say, I'm going to write 100 articles. They write 3. They say, I'm going to write 100 email autoresponder campaign. They write 3. They say, I'm going to write an ebook, and they write half of it, and then they get stuck, and they give up. People give up too easy in internet marketing. It's too easy to give up. It's too easy to jump ship. It's too easy to go to somebody else, and so they don't get the results that they want. So there's a lot more to it than just choosing a mentor. They've really got to dig in. They've got to choose the right mentor. They've got to commit themselves. And then if you do all of those things, I think having a mentor is a phenomenal thing.
Okay, final question, Sean, because I know your time is valuable and you have so much content to give to your list and to your clients, so much emails to write, and one of the biggest IM businesses on the internet to run, so I don't want to take up much more of your time. Nearly every guru and their grandmother is offering some form of coaching today. What should clients be wary of?
Boy, you know, that's a tough one. I mean, you know, there's a part of me that says, okay, you know, you should, you know, to think of some things that somebody should be wary of. But, you know, I think that the biggest thing is that when you're looking for a mentor, you want to find somebody who's been there, done that, and who's perhaps actively doing it. Okay, now, obviously there's a trust factor. You know, I mean, there's a few people out there in the world who, you know, maybe they sell coaching and then they just never show up for coaching. You hear horror stories like that sometimes, but, you know, truth be told, I think that's probably pretty rare. If you're actively following somebody, you see, if you're actively following somebody and you write them an email and you talk back and forth a few times and maybe you hire them for an hour or two and you spend an hour or two with them on the phone, you've paid their full price, and they've taught you something and you've gone out and you've done it. I mean, the odds of that particular person being able to continue to help you is probably pretty good. You know, I think where people get into a danger is they get so frustrated building their business that somebody calls them up on the phone and says, hey, you know, I'm calling from Mr. Big Name Guru's office, and, you know, he's got a $10,000 coaching program, and he's going to make you a millionaire overnight. You know, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. You know, you've got to find somebody that you personally trust and that you personally like. But at the same time, you've got to do the work. You know, I've had clients come to me and they tell me they got into so-and-so's, you know, Big Name Guru training program, and they spent all this money and they didn't really get the results that they want. And when you start digging and you say, well, what did you do? And you say, well, what did they tell you to do? I'm supposed to write a sales letter, and I'm supposed to write an e-book, and I'm supposed to do this. And then you say, okay, well, where's the sales letter? Oh, well, I never really got through it. Oh, where's the e-book? Oh, well, I never really got through it. You know, well, that's not the mentor's fault. I mean, you know, if you hire a mentor, you've got to do everything they tell you to do. What happens is a lot of times folks hire a mentor, and the mentor tells them what to do, and they start doing it, and then they get an email from some other guru that says you should be doing it a different way, and so they go, okay, well, maybe I should do it that way. And they're paying somebody to tell them what to do, but then they're taking free information from someone else to do it a different way. You know, so I think that the biggest thing is that folks need to apply themselves, and when they hire a mentor, they're hiring a mentor to teach them what to do so they can do it. They're not hiring a mentor because the mentor can just snap their fingers and have it done for them. And I think that there's a fine line between the two. But a lot of people, when they hire a mentor, they're looking for somebody who's going to make it all right. But nobody's going to make it all right. You've got to make it all right. You know, I've hired coaches in the past. When I've hired coaches to teach me how to do certain things, I'm the one working, and I'm going to them and I'm saying, hey, can you teach me how to do this? And they say yes, and I say, how much? And they quote me a number, and I pay them to teach me how to do this. But I'm not looking for somebody that's going to do it for me. I'm not looking for somebody that's going to have to baby me. I'm not looking for somebody that's going to keep me motivated. I don't need anybody to keep me motivated because I'm personally motivated to do the kind of things that are necessary to get to where I want to go.
Well, Sean, this has been a wealth of education, and I really believe that the folk who get the opportunity to listen to this interview will take away a lot from it. And once they implement what they've learned in this interview, I believe that they will be successful in whatever business, because not only did we cover IM businesses, we covered business in general, some of the principles, some of the core principles that should go into a real business and building a business, stuff like what you just spoke about, having a mentor. Because the truth is, and I'll be honest with you, when I first hooked up with a mentor, you know what I mean, because you don't know how to do it, and you go when you hire a mentor and you expect the mentor to do it for you, and that is where a lot of us newbies and intermediate marketers, or even some advanced marketers fall short. We expect somebody's going to do it for us. But one of the things that I was able to recognize the other day is that even guys like Tiger Woods, the experts, yeah, those guys have coaches. But you know what? Tiger Woods' coach does not play golf for him. He just tells him what to do, what strokes to play, what he may tell him what golf club to use. Usain Bolt's coach does not run for him. He may tell him how many 200s he must do today as a part of his build-up towards the next race and stuff like that. But he does not actually run for him, and that is one of the things that I am overcoming, the fact that my coach is not the person who is going to do it for me. He just gives you certain guidelines, certain steps, clearly defined steps, and once you follow these steps, you will be successful. Thanks a million, Sean. Any last word from you?
Well, you're very welcome, Rodney. It's been great to be here. I would just say, the biggest last word would be, so much of what we've talked about today is kind of getting away from the common thoughts that are out there about, do we have to do it like everybody else, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that folks really need to dig deep and ask themselves, what kind of business do they want to have? What do they really want to stand for? And then go out there and build it, and don't let anything stand in their way. Be perseverant about it. When they get tired, just keep going. Don't quit. Don't give up. Don't give up on your dream. If it won't work one way, make it work another way. Failure happens. Probably most of what I do is a failure, but it's the successes that count. And if folks will just take that and then really work hard at whatever it is that they're doing, I think that they can have amazing success.
Thanks, John.
You're very welcome, Rodney.